Well, right now, of course, the housing market is being underpinned by extremely low interest rates. We see the BC economy, the best performing economy in the country this year. We're seeing job growth quite substantial in many sectors, and as a result, I think consumers are exhibiting quite a bit of confidence. So retail sales are up 7% this year compared to last year, which is a huge number. And home sales are going to be up substantially. We looked at even over the past couple of years in the province, we're likely almost 40% increase in overall home sales activity. Low interest rates are certainly helped drive housing demand, but we've had low interest rates for quite some time. I think the real difference right now is consumer confidence. Consumers are extremely confident, and we're seeing home sales this year expected to be in BC about the third highest ever, so about 100,000 unit sales. So they'll crack the 100,000 unit mark for the third time on record. And many, when we look by area, most of that demand's happening in the urban markets on the south coast, but we're also seeing strong activity in the Okanagan as well. And it's quite broad-based, I think, overall. If you look in the Vancouver market, it's a global gateway city. There is going to be a certain contingent of foreign investors in the marketplace. But I think that's been overblown, I think, in terms of many of the commentaries on the subject. We hear things where real estate companies are counting clients with Chinese last names and the media turning that into meaning they're foreign investors. Well, not so much. I mean, we have to realize that in Metro Vancouver, 20% of the population are ethnic Chinese, and almost 30% in the city of Vancouver are ethnic Chinese. A lot of attention is being put on the very high end of the marketplace. So, 98% of the media attention seems to be focused on that 2% of the housing market, which is over $3 million. And we constantly are bombarded with Vancouver home prices. These multi-million-dollar houses are driving up the home price for everybody. The reality is that almost 80% of homes sold this year so far in Metro Vancouver were below $1 million. Almost 70% were below $800,000. So when we talk about this over $3 million mark, only 2% of homes sold were over $3 million. So when we look at the overall marketplace, the big whack of home sales are happening below that $1 million range, and that this very high end of the market in the very Tony areas of Vancouver is seeing a substantial amount of demand, and that's because single attached homes are becoming a smaller proportion of the housing stock, and those that are in close in the most luxurious neighborhoods, if you will, are garnering an increasing premium. And so home prices, single-attached homes across Metro Vancouver have risen much more rapidly than condominiums, because condominiums are what's being produced to satiate population growth, that additional demand. Single-attached homes are just not being built in sufficient enough numbers in order to keep their prices from going up much more rapidly. The key factors in the markets in Vancouver, low interest rates are a big driver in terms of affordability, as well as we have to look at this differentiation of the housing stock. And, one of the misnomers is we're looking at Vancouver housing markets, and you look at the high end of the market, we see, home prices in single attached homes have gone up quite dramatically over the past 5 years. But in some suburban markets, for example, condominiums are priced lower today than they were 5 years ago. So given lower interest rates, they're actually more affordable today than they were 5 years ago in markets such as Surrey and Langley, which contain about 25% of the population of Metro Vancouver. You would think in the city of Vancouver, in Metro Vancouver, that first-time buyers would be hard to come by given higher home prices. But in fact, the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver numbers really suggest that first-time buyers are about 30% of the marketplace, and they really have been unchanged. So, at a time where we hear housing crisis being mentioned often, I don't think there's a crisis in the market side of the housing, given the fact that home sales are coming near record levels and that we still see a significant portion of overall home sales are going to first-time buyers. I think the real issue is that the housing stock is changing in Vancouver, that single-attached homes are increasingly a luxury product, and as every large global gateway city that's facing increasing density, condominiums, whether it be townhouses or apartments, are much more the norm in terms of housing choices.